Yeah, I was so excited for him to die. I was like, just kill him, kill all these people. They don't need to be in this movie. And then
Yeah.
he just slides past and welcome everybody to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Hoppocalypse, and AvP.
Salam, which is hello in Tigrinya, which is a language in the Ethiopian area, which it's a global. It looks like a global, or the Ethiopian Highlands, which I don't have a map. So
hello to anyone who speaks that language.
yes. Welcome.
Also, feel free to always correct us on pronunciations of these languages as we greet you.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of ways that you can reach us, and we'd appreciate if you guys can make sure we say it the right way. But we've exhausted quite a list, so no one's yelled at us yet.
Mm-hmm. I found the stupid name of the predator I was trying to find out. Big
time.
Boy is named the assassin.
Oh, and for reference, Big Boy would be the Predator 2018 one meant to come and deal with the traitor. That one?
Which makes sense,
'Cause
like
he is
story-wise.
trying to get rid of
Yeah,
what
I
he
just
brought.
looked down and it's like the assassin upgrade predator.
Yes.
We found a wiki and it doesn't help things at all.
Well, it's a fan-made one, right? So maybe
Yeah.
it's not. It's just contributed to.
There's a lot of stuff that we didn't. I found out that there's comics, I knew there were comics, but like I didn't realize there was novels and everything else that actually mattered.
That build up the universe.
Like I don't know if it was like last episode or 2 episodes ago, and it's like it'd be interesting to see like what alien home planet stuff would be like.
We kind of got a glimpse.
We got
of
a
that
glimpse of it this
in
week, yeah.
AvP 2.
Yeah, it super sucks. Anyway,
But yes.
no wonder they want to go to all the other planets.
For anyone wondering, we're squeezing in Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem all together into one episode because Prey snuck up on us, and we wanted to make sure to give Prey its proper praise.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're wrapping up every movie involved with a Predator.
We flew too close to the sun, and AvP N2 brought us back down to remind us where we belong.
I was going to say, I don't know if the camera will be inverted in our video versions, but my hat says, tell me that it's over. And it's over.
Yeah, it's like bittersweet. Like, it's nice that we don't have to watch any more Predator movies.
It really is really upsetting to see 2 movies that really take advantage of what you can do with a creature like this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movies that throw it all away.
Yeah.
Wow, there's 7 movies in the Predator franchise. I just connected that we've watched 7 movies.
Mm-hmm. What is
with
this?
these
Last year's Halloween?
At least we spaced it out in a way that
Yes.
we're not losing our absolute minds.
Yeah, I was telling someone when I was in Texas, what we do, because I was talking about the other podcast I'm recording, and I was like, and then, like, just because we talk so much, there's like it just kind of comes up in natural conversation of just jokes or memes that we sent or just different conversations we had. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, well, we had a podcast. I'm like, well, what's that about? And I'm like, and then they're like, well, how'd you even get there? And so like I had to do a quick like 5-minute overview of how we got to movies, which like it actually goes faster than I thought it would, but like I had to, because they're like, oh, why'd you do that? I was like, oh, we started off with Halloween, and then we did this, and then when I was explaining the thing that really kicked off our transition from quizzes to movies was last Halloween.
Yeah, how much we enjoyed having that a chance to really deep dive into media instead of just going, that one's stinky, that one's good.
Mm-hmm. And then I told the people I was with this weekend, like, yep, kind because I don't really watch a lot of movies, I had to watch 4 movies every week, which was more movies I've watched in like 5 years. And they're like, that's a lot of movies.
But there were some real good movies. And there's another movie that will never leave our memory.
Yeah, because we're going to make sure we watch it every week. I mean, every month.
Week? Oh, no, I'm behind by, I guess I got to go watch Jennifer Lopez in a Twizzler suit like 40 times.
Yes, we must get that so it at least gets a third one. But I did have one funny story I wanted to share for people just to set the timeline, because I think last week said, yeah, us recording, we're taking a week off. Nope. That's next week. So I just got back from San Antonio, and I just had one quick story. Overall, it was a good trip. But one of the days, like, I felt a tickle in the back of my throat, and I was like, oh no, I got COVID.
Have you had it yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
But like, I heard people talk, and that's like what they felt like early on, and so didn't have it, and all it turned out was that I was getting dehydrated. And I was talking a whole bunch, but I was like, oh man, I just want something cold to drink, and I was like, I don't want like water or something. It's like, I wouldn't mind like either getting a smoothie or even like they had some sort of slushy or something, like just something cold with a little bit of flavor, because everyone else keeps drinking either water or alcohol back home at the Airbnb. So we look in the food court, there really isn't anything there, and then I see this other restaurant, or like this thing that's just slushies, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
I already know what this is.
So I go up there, and I'm like looking at it, it's like, that's expensive, but I'm like, whatever, let's just get one. I go up, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take a mango flavored one. And he's like, okay, can I see your ID? And I'm like, okay. It's weird. And I was like, yeah, here's my ID. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, do you want $3 extra for an extra shot? And I'm like, no. And then I'm just sitting there, and like, right as like I'm about to get charged, I'm like, is this alcoholic? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I don't drink. And I'm like, and I was like, I was like 2 steps away from drinking the most amount of alcohol I would have ever drank in my life, and in one sitting. And I was like, and I was telling my brother and like one of the other guys were there, I was like, I've never been drunk, and I really don't want to know what I look like drunk. It's like, it was, it was, if she didn't say, do you want an extra shot, I would have bought this and drank it. And I was just,
I like how you didn't catch it when you got asked for your ID.
Yeah, well, like, that's what I was like, that's weird. I'm like, I just, and I'm like, everything now makes sense. But like, I don't even remember seeing signs like saying that it was like alcoholic or anything. And it was like here was the entrance to the mall, and here was the store. Like, the store was connected to the mall.
Yeah, I think the reason that they don't advertise it is because the thing you're talking about, if I remember right, is like a chain. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that are only in places where you're allowed to open carry alcohol. So I know, like,
there's one in Las Vegas.
Yes, my friends mentioned it when we were out in Vegas. I forget where else it is, but I think I've seen it in a lot of places, like in Mexico or maybe Florida or somewhere like that.
Yeah. So, but like me, like I wasn't even really thinking and all that stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I'm like, this is exactly what I want, and then it turns out it's exactly what I didn't want.
Yes.
And then,
no.
It doesn't bother me that people drink, and I'll take a drink from time to time, but I'm like,
you're not trying to sit and drink an entire slushy.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, it was like, and then I was like, now I know why that drink cost $15.
It's all adding up now.
So, but yeah, as we said, almost bittersweet, because now we have to finish. We got to say goodbye to Predator.
Oh no! And what a bang. Okay, so we can go ahead and roll our dice then to see who gets to talk first about the plots of the movies. I know usually we try and squeeze in some of our thoughts about stuff, but we gotta We gotta go. We gotta squeeze both of our opinions for 2 whole movies in this episode.
I'm okay if we just go super fast for AvP1, but every time I say that, we never
AvP1 went fast for itself.
Yes.
There was so much happening and for no reason. But anyway, we'll get there. I rolled before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled twice. So my first roll, I guess I'll hide this in my history. It's probably inverted.
There we go. I rolled for both episodes.
Okay. I rolled a 15.
I rolled a 15.
So what do we do? Is our second dice roll going to be the tiebreaker then instead of for the second movie?
How about this? I will roll this die, and you say higher odds or even. And if you get it, if you get it, you will explain it. If you get it wrong, I will do it.
Okay. Odds.
I am doing it.
Good luck.
Yeah, the one that I fell asleep in the middle of.
I'll fill in the gaps.
Yes. Okay, here's the other thing we're doing. Since we have 2 movies, we're setting a timer. And so you guys are going to hear a very loud alarm in about 40 minutes if we do not finish this movie fast.
If we don't move into the next movie by then.
Yes. Okay, so I'm starting in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I was going to clap.
Oh. You still can.
Oh, poor earbud listeners if I do that.
Alright. Alright, so, in short, am I on the right one? I am. Okay, so in the beginning of this movie, we, I don't remember. Pretty much some alarms go off, and it was like, as I wrote, why is only one man upset in this room full of monitor people? As he's like, everyone look at this. Like, what else? That's our whole job. And then we literally don't get to look at them anymore, as we get some news, and then we just, as we call it, as I wrote in here, this is the Avengers Assembly, but for AvP, and no one knows who they are.
I wrote that Wayland Corporation is collecting Pokemon. I mean, the elite in their respective fields.
Yes. And then, but like before that, like we have our heroine. Or at least the person. She's the human I think we're supposed to vote for, not vote for, but like root for.
Yeah.
And the very first line that I wrote is like, she gets service up there, quickly followed by, couldn't he just wait for that phone call? Because she's climbing up like, literally, as I said, no one messages me. I get a phone message right now. What the dump? Okay, I do have to mute that because that's in the group chat. And if I know... okay, I'm just... Alright, we're not going to hear the phone alarm. I'm just going to see the alarm go off because I know that group chat's going to pop off in a few seconds.
Okay.
But yeah, so she's climbing up like some ice wall in... I forget where. Not that it's important.
I think Nepal?
Yes. And it's like, it's showing that it's super dangerous. And
then she just pauses.
She pauses, put it in there as she's like kind of slipping, gets up there, and then the guy who's on the phone is at the top of the mountain. First off, how should she not hear the helicopter? 2, you want this person on your group. Like, I know it's like, look how good she is, but it's like, you could have just lost the main point of getting people down there, which, whatever. So anyway.
Yeah, because like if he landed that helicopter and jump scared her at all, it was literally just, there was nothing behind there. She would have not been able to catch herself if she jumped backwards from being like, oh, there's people.
Yeah. So anyway, we gathered that. Like, I'm trying to think. I know we see the archaeologist, the climber,
and his buddy.
Yeah. And
the chemical engineer on
yes,
the plane.
Yeah, he just kind of shows up, and like I was writing a note on my phone, and I originally thought he took a picture of her while she was sleeping, and I was like,
I thought that too, and I was like, this is called creepy.
Yeah, I had to rewind because I'm like, she is very okay with this, but it wasn't the case. He was just actually like, wow, he a good dad. Real dumb dad, but he good dad.
He was not built for this.
Yes, as he says multiple times. So we meet him, and he's literally like, okay, he's here for the audience to have things spoon-fed explained to.
Well, the archaeologist as well.
Yeah. So then we move forward a little bit. Everyone is there to get their information drop. To where I wrote, does Wayland's employees need to all sound like they're part of Star Trek fleet?
It does feel weird. And the thing that confused me most about the Wayland Corp being involved with all this is they chose the same actor as Bishop from the original Alien movie to be Mr. Wayland, when Wayland Corp I didn't know existed in the early 2000s. I thought Wayland Corp didn't exist until a little bit later. Because I was looking at the wiki, and then the wiki, AvP 2 brings up another company, and I was
yes,
like...
that's the one I had to look up.
Yeah. And all that. But I was just like, why pick the famous character from the original Alien to play Mr. Wayland in whatever? Anyway, but yes. I wrote that the beginning of the movie felt like Wayland Corp ad placement, like a product placement, because every 2 minutes you see the W in a sign, or they say like Wayland. You work for Wayland? I work for Wayland. And I was like,
we all work for Wayland.
I got it. And then the big thing that we find out in the intro is apparently the first ever civilization was in ice-free Antarctica, in which all 3 cultures have combined to build the first pyramid. This is important, kind of.
All right, hold on. I wrote something about this later, so when we get there,
when we get to that point,
yeah.
Okay. Yes, and then I complained, because I know you've had this complaint about movies, and I never really caught on to it, but in this movie, our main character, our heroine, she feels like a male character, but then they just skinned them as a female character. And I think the thing that bothered me the most is when they wanted her to be tough, they had to prove that she was still female by putting her in low-cut shirts, or like...
I have another complaint about that later at the end, so if we run out of time, I'm going to say this point no matter what. Okay. But yes, I think the other thing I said when she was... Yeah, so pretty much they give the, like, the whole, like, explanation. And they're like, yeah, it's going to take 3 weeks to drill and then 1 week to explore.
No. It's 1 week to drill, and she wants to give them 3 weeks of training. Yes. And Mr. Whalen's like, I ain't got the time.
I'm going to die in, like, a week. Man. So, yeah, but she's like, no, I'm not doing this. To where I wrote... Can't the multi-million-dollar corporation hire more climbers? Like,
yeah, what if they broke down the groups or like whatever? But I think they wanted to be like, I think they wanted to do what the original Predator did, and was try to sell us that these are the best people in the different versions, but it doesn't come off that way at all.
Well, like, so what's interesting, I saw this more in the second one, but this one, the start of it felt very more of like an Alien movie franchise, while the second one feels more of a start of a Predator movie.
Yeah, I can see that. I also felt like once we get to it, I feel like the second one did what the Predator 2018 wanted to do and couldn't pull off, but we can get to that when we get there.
I also have something else to say about AvP 2, but by the way, guys, we both watched AvP 2 within a couple hours ago. We woke up.
That one we'll be able to, talk a little bit more.
So yeah, they... The other thing I wrote was just like, why does this scientist man not understand how dangerous of a place that he's going? Like, he's like, what does this mean? The place of no safe return or whatever. It's like, can I leave? It's like, guy, they didn't.
There's no more fuel on the ship or in the plane. There were so many people introduced so quickly in this, and it makes sense why they end up doing it this way because the way that the movie is structured. But
Cannon fodder.
But I was just like, am I supposed to? Because like they even introduce a character, they don't give her a backstory. All they do is go. The main character's like, guns don't save people.
Yes, that is the line. Guns are condoms.
Yeah, she's like, I'd rather have a gun than not have one. I don't even think she gets to use it, but I think somebody else uses her gun. Yeah. But in any case, it was just she was there for bringing the gun into the facility.
Yeah, and then you find anyway. So the one thing that I try to do when we watch these movies is there has to be some, like, I try to find something that I like, and
Bold.
What?
Bold. I couldn't find I said bold because I couldn't find
bold.
a single thing about this movie redeeming. But go ahead.
So, well, like, it's not so much the
there's-
acting, but like the
There's
boat.
one scene I liked in the movie.
Okay.
We'll get there
Yeah.
soon.
There's a handful of things, but it has nothing to do with the writing or acting or anybody in here. But like I was sitting there, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that view of the boat, like as they're going up to the Antarctic and they see like the
ice
Aurora
breaking.
Borealis, and like I was like, that was a nice shot.
That was pretty. I liked the movie as a time capsule because they were like, we have the newest tech, and they had digital
Yes.
cameras and big old camcorder.
And then so yeah, anyway, Climber, our heroine's just like, I'm not doing this, and they're like, fine, okay, bye. And then she's like, so who you gonna have them take down? It's like, oh, this guy. And she's like, he doesn't have the training. It's like, it's not your problem anymore. And then it takes like the other two people that were supposed to like to be like, come on, do it, it'd be cool. And she's like, fine. And then she goes, agrees, and then they're like, yep, knew she'd do it. And they're like, shut up. And then so then they're just like, okay, here's the 3 rules, and I don't even remember them all. I know one was like, don't get separated, listen to me.
Don't get separated, don't ask questions,
and
and do whatever I say.
Yeah, to where I wrote, yep, those 3 rules are gonna get broken. I think all 3 rules are gonna get broken real fast, just a suspicion.
Just my guess.
Yeah. So then I think we move on to kind of the second set part of the movie.
Tunnel time.
Yes, where they're like, heck with the other thing that popped in my head, I didn't write this down, when they're like introducing everybody, he's like, and here's the best drilling team. And my head is like, because the other one was sent into space to drill that asteroid from Armageddon away.
This is the best we could get because
Yep.
the
We ran
rest
out
of
of
them are
money.
in space.
So when we see the abandoned city or like mining town, first thing popped in my head was, oh hey, it's the set from The Thing.
It does look like the set from The Thing, but
It's
really
not.
cheap.
Yeah.
It's the thing that I thought was really funny about this is just how cheap everything kind of like looked.
Yes.
And I was just like, I know you guys have a crazy budget because some of the effects that you're using were not cheap at this time. Why did you skimp out on the set of all things?
Well, I think the set, a lot of the money in the set went into the pyramid.
I didn't need to, yeah, but I agree.
And so, which here's the one thing I was saying is that the one thing I did like was when they're kind of exploring that city, and they had like, it looked like shots from like a PS1 video game, like not like graphic wise, but like where the camera placement was. And as they light the flares and how the flares are lighting up like the alleyways and everything of this like small town, I'm like, I like the look. Like I like how the light of the flare.
Vibes.
Yeah. One thing I do like about AvP 1 compared to AvP 2 is that I think they used light better, way better in AvP 2. I mean AvP 1, because in AvP 2 it felt like, we don't need light. But they did like the lens flare. All lights gave lens flare in AvP 1. Yeah. So. And that's when scientist dad didn't listen, gets separated, and gets scared by a penguin. And then they find pretty much the writer said, we're not waiting a week or however many time, how long it's going to take the drill.
Surprise tunnel!
Yes, secret tunnel. Which we see how it's made, because the predators are just like, okay, plot device, laser.
Yeah, I was so confused with the laser. I was like, did they teleport predators on? But then they didn't teleport predators on because then they sent what looked like butt plugs to Earth.
Well, they had to plug the hole they just made.
I was like, that's your space transportation device?
Okay, so this is what I have to say about the ships. And this is like, why is the best hidden predator ships are the ones that aren't even using their stealth mode?
Yeah.
I'm like, these ships are just flying over top of them, not even invisible, and they are the most hidden ships.
Oh, yeah, the satellites or whatever, where
Yeah.
they're just sitting and waiting. because they have all their helmets are just sitting there because for some reason you put your helmets to look at a 3D laser thing instead of, on the wall where you could easily access the helmets.
Look, the Predators didn't get Bluetooth technology until later.
Oh yeah, until 2018.
That's why they
No, they do kind of use Bluetooth technology in this even too. Mm-hmm. Because they have all the, or is it an alarm system? I don't know. Either case, when the heat thing goes off, humans are notified, and so is the predator.
Yeah,
predators.
I think I don't know if I wrote it in here. I'm trying to see. I don't see it in here, but like when they first scan where the hole is and they just see like all the human heat sources, part of me is wondering, like, when I explains why later, like, oh, why they're friends with humans, I guess, but not really. I was sitting there looking at it, I'm just like, oh man, do you think the Predator aliens are just sitting there just like, dang it, the one time we don't want them here and they're here. But let's see. Oh yeah, I wrote it here. Do you think the Predators are just sitting there thinking, great, who invited the humans?
Yeah, and then along with all this, I gotta say, the use of sound in this movie is the worst use of sound. I think, even compared to Predator 2, I hated the way that they used sound effects in this one. Because I felt like some of the sound effects sounded really cheesy. Like, I'm pretty sure at one point I heard, like, the generic, like, boing.
Yep.
And then another time when, during this tunnel scene that starts to happen, they're like, it's dramatic! And then they just start playing really loud music and, like, making you want to have adrenaline. And I was like, but nothing's happening. The guy's just going down a slide really fast, but they're doing the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yep. Yeah.
Because the tunnel looks like an air vent tube, like the silver air vent tubes, and they just put frost on it, and I was just like,
they painted it white.
Yeah.
But
again, cheap set and everything, I guess, surface up.
Yeah, I think right before I wrote the Hidden Predator ship, he wrote, where are their milk bots now? It was like, this would have been way more. You know what? If everybody on the, I guess spoilers, the milk bots are not in this movie. If they are, I fell asleep during that part. But man, this would have been really interesting if the milk bots was like the whole crew except for like the 3 people they want us to care about.
No, they don't exist yet because I thought they got the technology from milkbots from Utani.
I can't remember. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe we'll find that out as we watch more AvP.
Oh yeah, because
Aliens.
after this we've got Prometheus, which as soon as I finished AvP 2,
yes,
Hulu was like Prometheus time.
I'm like, oh, no, please.
When I finished AvP 1, it was like, you have 700 seconds to decide if you want to watch AvP 2. I was like, 700 seconds? Why is this so long?
For me, it was like, as soon as I started AvP 2, it was just like, no, but you really want to watch Prometheus, don't you? I was like,
just skip ahead.
It's like, I'm like, how do I get rid of you? Bring up Alien vs. Predator 2. I have to watch this.
Right. So yes, tunnel time.
Yeah, they go down, and they go down the tunnel, and then they show this giant pyramid hidden under the ice to where I immediately wrote, oh, we're playing Call of Cthulhu now.
When I saw the pyramid, I said, oh, this is an Ancient Aliens lover's wet dream.
Yeah. And
they do end up explaining.
It doesn't make sense with the other lore. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, while they're down there, kind of, so like during this whole time, they're setting up lights, flares, looking in there, and while above, I think this is when the 3 predators land, and I found out that they actually have names, Scar, Celtic, and Chopper. Scar is pretty self-explanatory. Celtic, which I thought would have been Scar, isn't. Celtic is the one that kind of gets his helmet scratched, and Chopper is... I don't know what he does. I think he just gets destroyed right in the beginning. So anyway, throughout all this, they break all the rules of all of the predators that we see beforehand. Well, sort of, because
I don't remember all of them having guns.
Yeah, like that was the whole
surface.
thing. They were like, "Yeah, no, you don't need guns." And then everybody, and it wasn't just like random guns. They were like high, like powered assault rifles with like laser lights, and like it's just like this is not a digging crew. This is like a little military group. So they they do that. They get instantly wrecked, and then there's just this other dude who's actually part of the group, which dude, I think it's probably the one named Chopper. I think baits him into using a gun so he can kill him, because it's like they scare him, and he's like, "Oh gosh, I'm leaving," and then like a gun shows up. And then he picks up the gun to shoot, and then they're like, "Okay, now we can kill you." I'm like, "Okay." And so from there, okay, yeah, there was one thing. The another thing that I did like a little bit is like how we have the predators bringing up like the 3D wire map to like kind of get an overlay of the pyramid, and then it would zoom in and then go into where the humans actually are. It's like I'm like, okay, that's a neat transition, like that.
Yeah, like future technology, sure.
Yeah, but it was just like, okay, zoom, like this is where the humans are in the map, so that way it's like you can kind of have an idea where they are. And then I wrote where we kind of get another reveal, because the humans step on a hidden panel that activates baby automatron. It brings out a mother alien, and she starts pooping out eggs.
Yeah, so this is the only scene that I liked.
Oh, that was funny.
No. The scene that I thought was really cool was when it starts to force her to have the babies. And I was like, that's a really cool effect. But they spent way too much time on it.
That's where all the money went.
Yeah. But it was a really cool...
The scene I'm thinking is funny is later with the mother alien.
Yeah. When it turns out that it doesn't matter anyway. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to understand the anatomy of otherworldly creatures, but it did not make any sense to me how it works out. Yeah. But they had this whole like really slow, drawn out, gross little like bloop.
Yeah.
On the little conveyor belts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like baby automatrons. It's like they made redstone technology from Minecraft to make eggs happen. And then I think it's between now and then when I fell asleep.
Okay, so then what happens after baby automatron?
I'll let you know. I woke up when the pyramid starts moving, and
you slept for quite a bit.
I was really tired.
But yeah, so then what you have after that is I wrote that the humans start connecting all the dots while in the pyramid. They start getting rough messages like only the chosen may enter.
I did that, but I didn't write it.
And then they have they're just the archaeologist keeps confirming it's the 3 different cultures. They end up finding an ancient Aztec calendar, and as humans do in movies, they're like, what happens if we turn these dials and connect these dots? And bad things happen, because surprise, you shouldn't touch random shit in a archaeological site. You'd think you'd understand that.
That's when I fell asleep. I don't remember that, but I do remember them looking at the walls and everything.
Yeah, so then he connects the dots. And then it opens up to 3 predator guns, right? The perfect amount for the predators that showed up. So there's 3 predator guns, and then the gun havers that the lady was yelling at in the movie, they go, okay, we're going to take these. You guys go do something else. We're going to take these guns. And she's like, don't touch stuff. Stop touching stuff. And then the gun havers, the guy that was collecting people in the beginning via helicopter and like scaring people, like jump scaring them in person, he picks up one of the predator guns, and the other 2 start picking up predator guns. And then the 3 predators are at the entrance of the pyramid, and they get a signal that their guns have been touched, and then they just sprint. They go, you can't touch our guns, and then sprint into the pyramid.
I do remember that because like I remember watching this movie in theaters, and like I do remember those parts. Now that you're bringing it up, I was like, yeah, and she's like, don't do it, and like I'm going to do it. This is a really weird movie to be introduced to aliens and predators.
Yes, it is very weird. I was also very confused why all the predators roar like tigers. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, and I hated all their costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I wrote, why does this movie in the year of 2004 give the same exact vibes of the Mortal Kombat movie from 1995?
You will die.
And I hated all the effects relating to the predators in this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then my next thing that I have set up is I said the hunt begins.
Yeah.
So
is this when the pyramid starts moving?
No, not even. There's still more stuff that you missed.
Cool.
So I wrote for the hunt begins, step 1, human sacrifices to make alien babies. Because they read one of the rooms.
I do remember that.
And they split off the people, and the one room is a sacrificial chamber. So then the egg automaton comes back, and then all the eggs start to hatch when everyone's locked in the room. Because, also when they touch the Aztec calendar, all the door slabs shut, so they can't find each other again.
Okay.
Step 2, stress out the surviving humans and constantly remind them that they should be worshiping the predator. Because they find all the like I said, the ancient alien kind of thing where it's everyone worshiping what looks like giant Lego versions of the predator built into the walls, and then the predators start kind of picking people off at random. I don't know why, but they start kind of like picking off some of the researchers, and then that's when the pyramid starts moving. Because like there's this whole scene where one of the predators is like taunting the people. And then while it's taunting people, then the pyramid starts to move and starts to separate people even more.
Okay. I remember. Okay. Yeah. So this is probably when I woke up again. So I think that one that keeps taunting people is probably the one named Chopper.
Okay.
Because in the wiki it says he had a weird like thing for the humans. Like I didn't read the whole thing. It was just like I couldn't remember what it is, but he was just like, I'm gonna make fun of him or whatever. So I guess that would make sense. Because Celtic is I don't know. He's the we'll get into it right now because it'll be really easy to explain them all. Because I woke up to pretty much the pyramid moving, a dude fell, and as I wrote, this man took Minecraft fall damage.
Yeah,
and,
both his ankles broke. Yeah.
To where we get into like the sewers, and then the aliens just like, sup.
The alien starts targeting people.
Right. Are we in the same thing, or is there a little bit
I think
more?
we're at the same part, but I'm just gonna write my final 2 steps to whatever this hunt is in this section of the movie. I wrote step 3: aliens ingest humans to gain strength, and predators steal back their tech, but for some reason they decided to leave in this temple, whatever. And then step 4: show off the scene for the movie cover and have a really lame fight scene. So you can dive in.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I wrote man took fall, Minecraft damage, and then the one I think I woke up at this part as well because the guy who's like was in the helicopter and all that, he gets the net shot on him.
Yes, the one that was collecting people.
Yeah, and that's
the technology you said you remembered from Prey in this movie.
Yes. And then, so they do that. And then, as I wrote, Deus Ex Xenomorph. Sorry. Because this predator's about to kill all the characters that actually have names and a purpose. And then Xenomorph's like, hey, I know that one. And it just goes at him. To where he just gets stabbed in the gut, pretty much. And then, so that one that gets stabbed through the chest is Chopper, I believe.
Okay.
And then the one that goes and fights after him is Celtic. Because Scar is like
the final
one that decides to do like body mutilation. Which they're like, no, it's historic. And it's like, no, it's stupid. But anyway, let's see. Okay, we got like 12 minutes. So fortunately, this is when the movie kind of just goes real fast.
It goes off the rails. I wrote that if I wanted to see monsters fight, I'd just watch a kaiju film.
Yes. But the thing is, it's like this. Where did I write it? It's like, yeah. I was like, why does this fight scene look like it's filmed in stop motion? I was like, this feels like I'm watching Jason and the Argonauts.
It was very weird. And I wrote as soon as I wrote that line about it, I would rather watch a kaiju. I said, actually, wait, this movie is actually really hilarious. I don't care what genre they wanted this to be. This is a comedy now.
Yeah.
And when I told myself it's a comedy, I enjoyed the rest of the movie.
So, yeah, I woke that up, and then I think this, I wrote this is when Waylon started seeing, like, wait, is this when let's see. Yeah, okay, so this is, Waylon gets killed.
Surprise.
Yeah, and
because he thought they were flammable when they're wearing metal armor.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the next line I wrote was like, this would have worked way better against the aliens, which makes sense because his whole organization's fight aliens. But then in my head I was like, this is the moment Waylon says, "Heck with this, send in the robots." But man, I think would have been a real fun twist if they killed Waylon and he was a milk bot.
That would have been fun. But Bishop didn't exist yet.
Yeah, this movie isn't about having fun. And this is when I wrote, I fell asleep and I can't remember if they've changed the pyramid before, because this is when it all started moving around, and I'm like, oh, we're in Maze Runner. And then I don't remember why I wrote this. And it's like, so the Predator's an idiot. I don't remember. Oh, I think this is when he's marking himself. Like, he took off his armor and just started.
And then he, like, starts, like, taking the acid from the alien and starts, like, drawing all over himself.
Yeah. I woke up and that's what I wrote. This Predator's an idiot. And then I think, so, main lady and archaeologist dude escape, which that dude should have died.
Yeah, I was so excited for him to die. I was like, just kill him, kill all these people. They don't need to be in this movie. And then he just slides past, and you're like, oh. So
where he explains the ancient tradition of, like, I think that's what you were getting at, like, where it's like, oh, the humans like willingly sacrifice themselves for xenomorphs to come out, and then they're like, we got to give back the guns, and I'm like, did they just like melt this whole ancient tradition of stupidity down to a prison metaphor? Like, we got to give the guards back their guns. I was like, and then I think in this part they also do the flashback of explaining that the Predators came to Earth to teach humans how to build pyramids so that they could have a breeding ground for the alien, but then they made too many aliens and they had to nuke it all. Yeah, this doesn't make okay. You know what? This like directly gets undone in Prometheus. Does it really? Okay. It's well, okay, now I'm gonna bring up the other thing, because oh wait, hold on. Okay, it comes in a little bit later. Hold on, making sure, because I know I wrote down oh, here it is. Yeah. Okay, because I wrote the Predator's an idiot, and then this is when he's explaining all the ancient history and stuff, and I was like, is this making any sense? And this is when I went and I looked it up, and I was like, according to Prey lore, Prey just said the lore of AvP is dumb, because it's like, okay, in AvP thousands of years ago, or is it 300 years ago when the first hunt? I guess it could be both, but it's still dumb, because it's like in Prey, it's like 300 years ago. Yeah, it's like in the 1700s. Which that Indian tribe or Native American tribe, brain. Anyway, the Naru's tribe is like super isolated, so I'm like, you know what? It could make sense that they never met, and so they wouldn't have all this history because that's all happening on the other side of the world. However, it wouldn't make sense that the Predator is scanning snakes and mice. Trying to learn about Earth, yes. Yeah. So I'm like, well, what is it? And I think Prey watched the movies and just said, I think they just maybe watched AV. Well, no, because they have the net. Anyway, I don't know where they got their lore for Prey, but I like it better. Yeah, I'm fine with this not being canon. It actually, in the wiki, it's like marked as, AvP2 is marked as non-canon. Well, AvP2 doesn't add anything. Yeah. Well, okay, AvP2 does try to add something. But anyway,
So then, yeah, so we have the lore dump of the pyramids.
Yes, as you were saying, and then I wrote this whole pyramid is based off Legend of the Hidden Temple. So where we have more fights, which is my second thought, was like, even though these fights are dumb and I fell asleep. And then this isn't a negative. It was like some of these shots to show this location off are pretty neat. Like just like I don't know. I kind of liked how it looked. Like some of the, even though it didn't feel like the best thing, I was like, I think this movie used like light and darkness to make this pyramid look more mysterious than it should have been.
Okay.
And then we start killing xenomorphs. And then is this when does the xenomorph get the net shot on him? Because that one has a name.
That one was cool. I don't know. I kind of like lost it. I stopped taking notes after this point, and I was just in for the ride.
I think Scar shoots the net because like this is like their face off because they cut off.
He's the final one alive.
Yes.
At this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scar's the last one alive, which is the one that marks his head. And then there's one alien that seemed for some reason gained a personality by getting its tail cut off. But yeah, they pretty much, it's like, yeah, because this is when they start like killing xenomorphs.
Yeah, and this is when, and at this point, it's when Lex, the main girl, and the Predator are like, "We friends now."
Oh yeah, well, I wrote a line like they became friends, but it's literally about the one thing I'm about to complain about right now about aliens.
I thought they were gonna kiss for a very long
Oh yeah, that would have been great. I remember my like half like awake stage is like, and then they kissed. Just saying that multiple times as like alien and predator faces got really close, and then humans and predator faces got close, and then aliens just will kiss anyone they can get closer to. But yeah, they to when they start killing the aliens, and I'm like, wait, this is all it takes to kill xenomorphs? Why did they have so much trouble if a sharpened stick will just do the job?
Yeah, the problem I had with these movies is they decided to make the aliens basically useless. Like they made them like hordes of ants, and I was like, but the original alien is scary because it's smart and invincible essentially, and it's only afraid of one thing.
Yeah.
So they decided to remove all the alien lore and make them like big babies.
Which I guess that's what they are currently.
Yeah, they grow up super fast. It's been what, like maybe an hour, and now they're big enough to like they're the size of a predator.
Well, we can't complain about that because AvP 2, man. The AvP 2 is no longer AvP. It's anyway. Oh yeah, so I think at some point they shoot the net and they cut off the tail. No, they cut off the tail. Celtic, I think, is the one that marks up the one alien.
Okay.
Because I remember there's the scene where pretty much the alien, which they name Grid, because he has the net marks on his head. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's his actual name, but the wiki named him Grid, or it Grid. And so, and this notable facts: possesses a grid-like scars on its cranium. Killed to Yatuja, which is apparently the name we found out of what predators actually are called. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, so it has its tail cut off and has this grid thing, and then somehow is like emotionally connected to the queen somehow. But anyway, this all happens. They fight, and the aliens take I forget his name, boy away, and which leaves Lex to almost get killed by aliens, xenomorphs, where she actually, through all the confusion, kills him, yells at the predator, and the predator's like, "I'm gonna punch you. Oh, you did something? Well, here, let me give you." Yeah.
She says something like, a friend of an enemy is a friend of mine, or an enemy of my enemy is my friend. And it's like, but he can't understand you, but okay.
Yeah, well, like, she gives him the gun, and he's like, fine, later, loser. And then just like, wait a second. And then she's like, oh, you're actually useful? Here, let me get this super acidic flesh off and give you... Because then it's like, look, the acid doesn't burn itself. When she's like, what the heck are you doing? And so, yeah, and then, like, she becomes, like an amazing warrior and is just stabbing, I guess, dudes left and right, just running around with the Predator.
Yeah, and they go on a romantic sleigh ride together to the surface, which was really weird.
Yeah, which I also wrote, also, this is how an improvised weapon skill looks like. To the next question is, why is everything with the xenomorphs so wet? Why?
Because they drip acid.
No, like, they're just drooling all the time. They are big babies. They're just constantly drooling, or St. Bernards. Yeah, then the sled. They go up the sled. They go up there. Some point during there...
they look like they're going to kiss again.
Well, before that, Mama Alien, the Queen Alien, calls all the xenomorphs back and is like, okay, break me free. To where it's like, I don't think we should have that many... shots of the mouth shooting out of the mouth.
It was a lot of that.
At least well lit.
Yeah, and then I was also confused. I was like, how? I don't remember there being that enough people in the exhibition to make all of these xenomorphs.
Yeah.
Because they were like, I guess we only met like 10, but then they had like 30, and they still killed like 10.
They had some extra like, human bodies in the back.
I guess, but I mean... It's not like they had access to the humans on the surface, and there were like 10 people on the surface. But either way,
yeah. But yeah, so the Queen gets free. She breaks out, and it's funny you wrote that because I wrote the sled does not seem safe. They get up there, and our time is out, which we're literally almost done this. It's it's like, and now that they escaped, they kiss. To where the Queen's like, no inner alien smooching here.
Yeah, no kissing. I wrote, no time for smooching. Mother came out of the ground.
Yeah. Mother, no. And then there's a battle in there to where I wrote, producer said, heck with science, take her coat off. Okay.
Yeah. No, there's acid on my vest. It's only freezing, and we're in the middle of Antarctica, but no vest.
Yes.
Bad vest.
That is exactly what I wrote. And it's like, we need her to run around in, like, a t-shirt, pretty much. Well, a long sleeve t-shirt. And I'm just like, so anyway, they do that. I wrote a little bit more of another complaint I have with that, to where the Predator dies because it gets super like wrecked, and then between teamwork they tie the Queen to a water tower and push it into a lake where the ice breaks, which, living in upstate New York, I don't think that would have happened, because up there the ice gets like 10 feet thick. If you're in the Antarctic, I can't imagine. But anyway, they fall down, and it just carries it to the bottom of wherever. To where I wrote, humans win. Alien, the Predators come down to collect the one that's still there. Oh, I just realized we skipped over something important, but we can cover this in the 2 seconds right now. It's like, okay, if they come here to hunt, what the heck? Like, if they were coming here to do, like, the test of, like...
Aliens versus Predators.
Yeah. What the dump were they doing all the other times? Did they literally just forget where the pyramids were, and they're just like, okay, go down and find the pyramid, and then they run into humans, and they're like, I gotta kill. And then, as I read, after winning the alien conflict, she dies of hypothermia.
I'd imagine so, yes.
And then the last thing I wrote was, oh wait, there's more. Because earlier in this movie, a face hugger jumps out a Predator. That whole scene happens offline because the Predator's like, yep, I gotta go do cool marks on my stuff now. Never mind, I'm in danger. Or in like the middle of a battlefield. We never see what happens. But then they put the Predator on this little like
burial slab,
and they all leave him, to where we're like, oh man, zoom in, and then bada bing, bada boom, Pretty Alien pops out. It's like, sup losers, and then it cuts
directly into the next movie, which I guess I'll explain.
Well,
But anyway,
what was your second role?
oh, I didn't know you wanted to have to explain both of them.
I don't
to
know.
back.
I was just thinking you can explain this one, but I was just wondering what your second role was.
Because we've done that before, right? During
Yeah.
Halloween, we rolled and then we swapped
Well,
to
you said
give each other a break.
Yeah, you said you rolled twice, so I was just curious.
Just to be safe. I rolled an 11.
Oh, no lie, I rolled an 11.
Anyway, the universe said,
dude, this is
you
amazing.
two have to figure this out.
This is the best dice roll ever. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Before I jump into the next movie, I'm just going to say, you got to love a movie that could have existed if they just, didn't. If the humans just didn't. Because none of the movie could happen if the humans didn't show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
It would have been the easiest collection of guns.
They would have collected the guns, and then the eggs would have been there, and then the predators would have just had to flamethrower them, and then the movie would have been over. Because there would have been no vessels for them to live on. Anyway, so then, yes. So we go directly into the final scene of AvP 1 and into AvP 2, shot for shot. Or, well, they add in a scene to show that they, for some reason, collected like 1 billion face huggers to keep in vessels in the ship, because that's a smart idea.
It's for the next pyramid.
Yeah, and then you see the little predator baby jump out of the chest.
I got Spaceball vibes every time that thing showed up. I was just going to be like, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
So, yeah, and then I wrote for the revenge baby to immediately start doing its thing where it grew up in like 2 seconds, which was very confusing. And by predator baby exacting out its revenge on all the other predators, it causes the ship to crash and land on Earth. And then on the predator homeworld, I wrote that they had some surveillance footage. And we've recorded everything that's happened, and we must go deal with this alien predator we've set loose upon Earth. Even though no alien that has bursted out of a human being has gained human traits.
Yeah, unless it could be. Like, that could just, because at this moment, that's the only thing we've seen. It's really interesting. Like, have you watched Prometheus?
No.
So it is interesting. There are things in Prometheus, like, I guess, that could explain why we only see this style of alien. But Prometheus didn't come out yet, so...
Yeah, so this is just weird lore decisions.
Yeah.
And then while the predators take their time to figure out what's going on Earth, then we get to meet all the human fodder on Earth.
I did write one thing about the first 2 humans we see. I was like, these are the smartest 8 humans in any of these movies so far. Immediately followed, well, that didn't last long. Because they look at it, see something move, like, okay, we have to leave. and then they just instantly get wrecked.
Well, they didn't really have time to leave, unfortunately. But yeah,
they
at least had
attempted.
the thought process.
Yes, they made the smartest decision of, no, we're not going to steal alien tech. No, we're not going to poke around. No, I'm not going to look closer.
I'm not going to go into the noises.
We're just going to leave.
But as this was happening, I wrote, rip the dying dreams of everyone trying to protect everyone else from the aliens making it to the surface.
Yeah.
Because everyone was willing to die in AvP 1 to say, as long as we save the human race, we can't let them get to the surface. We just have to protect the people.
Yeah. Oh, man, it would have been amazing to have a scene of the girl from the first one, like, even though, like, it wouldn't make sense for her to come back in time. But it's just, like a little scene, like, 3 weeks later, she's just like, what the dump? Like, she just
we did all this and for what?
It's like, oh, man. But I have thoughts. I wrote literal thoughts about some of the things that are written, so we'll get there. Of some of the just choices. But anyway,
yeah, so then it lands in Colorado, and they keep bringing up that point. But so we end up meeting all the different characters. We have a guy who's recently left jail, a sheriff who is like having a tough time handling his job. Then you have convict's brother, who's a pizza delivery guy, who's like a teenager in high school dealing with like wanting to be in love with a girl. And then you have the girl that he's in love with. And then you have a gang of bullies that keep bullying the guy that likes the girl because he wants to date the same girl, kind of, high school drama.
And cookie cutter soldier lady.
Yeah. You have cookie cutter soldier lady. I at least liked her better than Lex in the first movie, because Cookie
Yes.
Cutter Soldier Lady still felt feminine and masculine instead of just being,
Mm-hmm.
you don't listen to me,
Well,
you're dumb, you're gonna die.
She
And I was like, oh my god.
She didn't have enough time to actually make any character. Like,
Well, I say that
Yeah.
because the few scenes she's in,
yeah.
she cares about wanting to be a mother, and she's trying to refit into the world. Anyway, so we have military mom come back, and then her and her daughter and her husband. And then, and when we meet Pizza Guy, I wrote, Cricket's in this movie. I want Cricket to live till the end, but I should have known better. Cricket from Always Sunny.
Wait, that was the brother? Or,
No. It's the other guy that works at the pizza place. The one that joins them in the end.
Oh,
the
okay.
guy
I did not even put that together. That was him.
he's the guy that is like, I'm going to go on the tank. That guy.
Yes,
is
okay. I
Cricket.
didn't realize that was the same person because... Okay, my first complaint, that the first thing I wrote in this movie is, why is everything so dark? And that was... I felt like... I don't know if it was no, I had my computer turned all the way up, and I was like...
So I think... So this movie, when I watched it, it reminded me a lot of the structure for, like, the newer Godzilla... The Americanized Godzilla movies. So I think, like... AvP 1 is very much in the style of like Predator 2, where it's like a lot of action and a lot of things happening. Like it feels like the same type of movie, whereas this one feels more like the more modern action, where they want you to care about the characters. But then to remind you that it's not a wholesome movie, then they go, oh, the lighting has to be dark to remind you that bad things are going to happen to these characters.
Yeah, I'm like... It was just so, like, that was, like, my complaint, where I'm just like, some of this stuff would look really cool if I could actually see what was happening.
Watching it on my monitor, I didn't feel like I had too many issues with viewing it, so...
I don't know. It's like, I felt like they saw some of the fight scenes and are just like, just make it dark so that way people can't see how bad the animation is.
I mean, it could also be that. And then this one's different in that they weren't gathering experts in anything, really. It was just, like, a bunch of people living their lives. But this one did also have some silly sound effect choices in it. I forget which ones I noted, but it was just like some things I giggled at when I know I shouldn't have.
Oh, by the way, do you want to know what the Predator Xenomorph combo is called on this wiki? Because I found the wiki page for the movie.
What do they call it?
The Predator-Alien.
That's funny. It's better than Alien Deter.
Yeah. I don't know. Predatomorph would probably be... Well, no, that's too many syllables. The Predator-Alien.
I think Predatomorph and Predator-Alien...
Yeah, probably the same
is
thing.
like same syllables. But yeah, so then you have what feels like a slice of life movie as you're jumping around with these different characters. And the reason I said this feels like what the Predator 2018 wanted to be is that I actually got a feel for who these characters were, and they didn't feel fake. Like they all felt like people living their lives. And I was just kind of like, when does it turn? Because they do some of the jump shots to show the Predator, like you said, more in the Predator structure of a movie, where everyone's living their lives, and then the Predator is kind of trying to fix the mess that they have dropped onto Earth. And he has a lot of the like hunting equipment. He's slowly investigating. And it was nice to see a lot of implied things about the Predator instead of people just going, did you know that the Predator leaves behind an acid that can melt things into nothing?
Yeah.
It was a lot of us trying to like guess why the Predator was doing things as people were doing their regular things outside of knowing of the Predator.
The one thing I really did like about this Predator, I also found out that this Predator's name is Wolf. So
because he like stalks around.
I guess
a lot,
I don't
or?
know. It's just named Wolf, and apparently there's like he has a whole article that he's apparently an accomplished one, and all that we know is this. Well, spoilers. Final Hunt, which is this one. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I think let's see. I wrote a Predator cleanup crew, which is kind of what he was just hiding all evidence. I'm like, that is a concept that sounds really interesting, and I wish it was in more than just this one. Because it's like, they're trying to find the dad and son from the beginning of the movie, and the Predator finds him first. And like just is like kind of getting rid of all the evidence, and then it's like this one, it kind of like I feel like it makes sense why he breaks all the rules of the Predator that we know that they follow up to this point, because he's like, I'm not here to hunt, I'm not here to like make honorable kills. I'm here to hide all evidence of this thing existing.
Yeah, and that's why I also bring up the
Yeah.
Predator 2018, because they wanted to bring a Predator and give him a job like that, but then they
Yeah.
also had him do whatever he wanted. This Predator was more like, I have a goal, and I'm
Yes.
trying to clean up my mess. So,
Well,
and
other
then
people's messes.
well, other people's mess, but
Yeah.
like he has to claim the mess.
Yeah.
But because he's also, while he's hiding evidence, he's also trying to ruin any chances that they might have to procreate. But I was also like, why did they only send one if
That's-
they know how bad it is?
That is one thing I was also wondering. But like the I wrote multiple times and like at the end of the movie was like, okay, thinking about it, this makes sense. Because it's like because I wrote, why was the Predator trying to hide like any evidence and then just leave that cop's body just hanging in the woods? It's just like, wait a second, you're okay if people know about you, but it's like these xenomorphs, no.
Like, in one hand, I took it as him trying to warn people to like get off the trail. You know, like how
yes,
the upper brass in the old movies were like, you don't know what you're getting into. The Predator can't do that, but he can be like, look, scary things are happening, avoid the woods, because if humans don't show up, then they can't get chest bursted.
Yes. Oh man, but yeah. So, but no, I can definitely agree with what you're saying, where about like, but like it felt like kind of getting the like little bits and pieces of everyone's life, like
It was very slow going.
It was slow going, but then it's just like one, like as I say, cookie cutter soldier, because it was just like it felt like they gave so much time to the teenage drama that they didn't have enough time to be like the soldier returning, which like I didn't write in my notes because it took too long for me to write, but I was just like, why is every like at least in this time, I don't know if they done it differently, but like there's so many movies where it's just like the mom and like the soldier returns home and their husband or wife with their kids are like somewhere else that is not on a base. Like their families live on military bases, like their whole towns.
I think it's a choice.
It could be. Like if it is,
No,
like I
'cause,
just don't
like,
know enough, but it's like
from my understanding, I could be wrong, but from my understanding, it's like you could either ask to have base accommodations or not. So like I think if the significant other doesn't work, then they tend to use the base accommodations because then you already have like housing and everything. But I think if the significant other does work, then they're like, I'd rather have like a yard and a house and like a different life for my kid.
It could be. I just don't know. It's just like everything I've always heard is like, no, the family like kind of lives on base. But I'm not from military, and well, my one brother who is in military doesn't have is not married.
Significant other, yeah.
So, yeah, which I found out in graduation. Apparently, there's a whole like ceremony where it's like they do like mass weddings or something like that.
I think because a lot of people get married before people leave.
Yeah.
So then it's all like,
Yeah.
if you're all leaving at the same time, let's all
Yeah.
bundle this up. But anyway, so back to the movie. So yes, so we have all these characters. Is there anything you wanted to say before they start getting pulled into the main plot? Because it is like a good like half hour, 40 minutes before.
It's like a half the movie before
the main characters even encounter the aliens themselves.
Because there's moments where I write this later, but this doesn't feel like an Alien versus Predator movie.
They're two completely different movies. I mean, granted, they have different directors.
Yeah. Well, it also. Sorry, finish.
I was gonna say, but it is kind of wild watching this back to back because there's nothing. The only thing that connects the two is the first scene.
Yes. Well, like what I was also gonna say, this movie itself and vibe and tone and everything doesn't even feel like an Alien or Predator movie. This feels like a zombie movie.
I can see zombie, but like I said, I think it's interesting watching these like this because each of these movies is kind of a very fun capsule of this is what all the popular media was at this time.
Yes.
And they know the IP. So they were like, let's take the IP and force it into the popular movies right now. The popular formula for what's going on right now.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, because there's a scene later where I'm like, when are they just going to give up on Raccoon City to this place? Which, we'll get to that. But I'm just like, I'm sitting there and like even looking at the beginning, like the way that the alien morph and the Pred-Alien, whatever it's called, is running around doing stuff. It's like, and this like how the aliens are running through the sewers and all these other stuff, like in the face huggers, like the way it's like, I don't know, it feels different because like they're not contained to like a ship or
yeah,
something.
and I think that was a neat thing to see, because it's like it answers that what if there wasn't any constraints on what they would do, and it's like it's what they're literally doing. They're like, I sense living things. Coop, coop, coop. Let's keep diving in. And I'm like, yeah, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't know. They would just keep as fast as they can, because that is the race, right? Because in the older movies, they hint at the various them of trying to, oh, you know what? I am silly for saying they don't have human features when they hatch, because isn't it on the first movie when they go to that one alien thing, the alien that they find fossilized on the first ship when they first go to the distress signal is actually not like that alien, but it's like kind of mixed with that race that they don't know what it is.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but probably because like
probably
because like it says it's a mix, and like the reason why these aliens or the xenomorphs are growing so fast is that I think the predator race grows fast.
Sure.
Like, I don't know.
We've never seen a baby predator, so we can't say yes or no.
So, which would make sense, but yeah, it's I'm trying to think. Like, I think the thing that was tough, like at least for the first half of this movie, is like there was definitely characters they wanted us to focus on, but the fact was like it felt like there was too many threads to like focus on.
There were a lot of threads, and it took a long time for them to finally connect. Yeah. This almost felt to me like those Dark Pictures or Dark Anthologies games. I forget what the name of the company is, but the ones that do like the Man of Medan, Until Dawn, and all of that. This structure felt like those games, which sometimes I love, sometimes I hate. Yeah. It depends. But that's why I said I don't hate this movie, because at least compared to AvP1 just felt like we have 4 ideas and we're going to smush them together whichever way we can. We don't care in post how it works. And this one, it at least felt like they thought through, even if it was too many threads, they at least thought through like the arcs that they wanted. Yeah. And they stuck to those arcs.
Yeah. My huge complaint was like, and it might just be my computer, but it was like I had the brightness turned up all the way, and I was like, I'm having a hard time seeing what's happening.
Was it hard for you to watch The Predator? Because I felt like The Predator 2018 was darker.
No, like I don't remember having the same complaint, but then again, like I don't know. It could just be like a technology difference. Because when did this movie come out? 2007. So, and then 18, like it just might be the CGI and stuff, like they're able to make things a little bit more distinct
in the different like the colors and the tones like, versus the shadows.
Because like I remember like one of the fight scenes, I'm like, this would have been really cool to see if I could actually see it. And it's like no, like I don't know, some of the things it's just like I can understand.
It did feel like a weird choice to me that they wanted us to care so much when in the first movie they basically set us up to believe that all humans are fodder and like, you know, they're meant to just be cattle for the aliens. Yeah. So I was like, they're spending a lot of time on these people. I guess they aren't like, just.
Yeah, well, that's why like I felt this more was like a zombie movie, because it's like normally like Resident Evil is not a good series to go off of the movies, but like in some zombie movies, like the beginning part is like get to know your characters. Normally there's a lot of them because a lot of them are going to die.
Walking Dead-esque.
I never watched Walking Dead. So
Well, I thought you played the Telltale game at least.
I played the first one. Yeah. So
yeah, but the first
yeah.
one does have the same structure to it, where you spend a lot of time. There's no clear threat. There's kind of like an implied threat, and then when the threat shows up, then it's a
yeah. And that's what it was like. It shows it like kind of happening underneath, like in the sewers and stuff. And then like from there, like it keeps going forward and everything. And then like it just gets to the point where it's just like all we have to do, like there's no other plan. We have to escape. And like
yeah, so then I wrote that the named characters start slowly getting pulled into the story, like actually encountering the aliens and encountering the predator himself. As he's retracing his steps. I wrote, here's a lesson for everyone. Never lose your spare set of car keys. So that if anyone throws your car keys in the sewers, you still have a set of car keys. And 2, come prepared to go into the sewers. Don't go in without gloves, without like a shovel, without a plan to get your keys.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, he just randomly shoved his hand in that sewage and was like, got him.
I know, I was like, okay.
I was like, I understand, whatever, just get out of there.
I did find the movie kind of predictable, but because it was so predictable, it made it kind of funny for me, like in a comedy way. Especially the scene where they're in the house and the girl has the little binocular set she got from her mom, and then she's like, "There's a monster outside," and Dad's like, "See, there's no," and I was like, "He's gonna show up," and then he shows up, and I laughed at it. It's cheesy, but I laughed at it. And then the only other note I had for this section is at least the big brass only showed up because they were called in, instead of the previous installments in the series where the big brass was like, we already know what's going on. We're already aware of this threat. We were going to show up when we were ready. In this one, they were like, they waited for the call from the sheriff, who was like, National Guard, what do you...
They got there really fast. Like, they were kind of...
So I will say... The location, they said that they were calling Colorado Springs, and I do believe there's actually there's a base there. And they said they are in Colorado at least.
The other thing that's kind of confusing is like, it's just like, we'll come when we're called, but then they like have satellites that show them where all the aliens are. Like it's just like chicken pox like all over this section, and I was just like, well, then how did this get out of hand if you have a set, whatever.
I don't know, but the movie made it seem like it went from like 1 to 50 aliens in like a minute. Which, so like I guess
that could make sense because like he's making like aliens the whole time. Like he's making
them constantly. And then also the thing that freaks me out is that I don't understand the physics of how he went to the hospital to target pregnant women, and that more than 2 came out of the stomach.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, like that's the whole thing. Like, there's literally a picture of it on this Wikipedia where it's just like the predator alien implanting belly bursters
instead of chest bursters.
Yeah, which I don't know if belly bursters are a different thing.
Term?
Oh. It's using a similar delivery method as the face huggers. Okay, so this is just something that this one can do because because he kind of circumvents having to make an egg for a face hugger to go through the process. He goes straight through the neck. Yeah,
into the ladies.
Yeah, so apparently they're like this predator alien that was birthed. Oh yeah, Scar was the name of the thing, which apparently somehow it got some of the same abilities as a queen, which is why it's like that's what they're kind of writing in here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was weird and it was confusing. I was just like, sure, keep making aliens, make so many aliens.
But yeah, I think before we get to, there was some stuff that happened. Yeah, there's the gun store. Like, honestly,
well, the gun store I was gonna say is the next arc. Section.
Honestly, this really, like, as I was watching this, I'm like, dude, if you just replaced this with zombies, this would make a really decent Resident Evil movie.
With the structure of it?
Yeah, because it's like you have your beginning, because like in Resident Evil 2, you go to a gun store, and it's like really similar to what happens in here. But like, what I also wrote is the gun store, where did I put that?
Yeah, the gun store is ultimately where all the named characters meet up,
Yeah.
and kind of the threads are finally all connected into
I don't
a
think
single
I wrote
thread.
it. Oh, here it is. Meeting at the gun shop is the new meeting at the pub.
From Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, because everyone just shows up there. But yeah. So, but like before that, we have the scene at the school, which is kind of like the kickoff for all.
Oh, really pulling them into the thread. Yeah.
Because like as I wrote, aliens really hate bullies.
As they should.
Yeah.
As also the convict does, because I like the convict's one line,
Mm-hmm.
"Shut up, Dale, you're too stupid to talk."
Yes. Oh man. But yeah, the bullies except for the main one get destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just funny because like, so the thing that I was making me laugh at that scene where it's just like, oh, skinny dipping time, maybe making out. I just remember my brother telling me, he's like, yeah, AvP 2 isn't good, but I remember just watching it as a kid, and then that like, and he would have been that age, and I was like, was he just watching it to see the girl in her underwear? But I'm just like, hey, let's move forward. Come on, everyone die or whatever. Yeah, and then the alien, one of the xenomorphs was just swimming in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Where what I read where
They basically had a Jaws scene. Get out of the water.
Yeah.
Get out of.
I was actually thinking a couple weeks ago, I'm like, that would be a fun series to go through. But I wrote because this whole movie is just this predator just showing up like a minute too late. It's like, okay, I'm gonna clean this up, which is like, how much of that blue liquid you got, dude? But he pours it in the pool, and it just immediately starts smoking to get rid of the alien corpse. And I'm just sitting there thinking, man, I really hope no one jumps into that pool when it's done. And then it's like the next scene, it shows brother and cop just looking down, and I'm like, oh, never mind. The water's
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
the water's gone. I'm like, wait, if the water's
So-
gone, why isn't? Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and then that's when we have the gun shop where where I wrote the fastest intro to outro to any military installment in this series.
Yeah, they show up and then they immediately can't handle it, and they're like, all right, we only have one backup plan, which we'll learn about later. But I wrote in that the shift in the tone of the movie is really jarring, where it really went from kind of slowly building up characters to like they're supposed to all act like they're tense because it's a tense situation, but all the arguments felt like kind of flat, where they were like in the they realize that the military can't save them, so then they go and jump into one of the cars that the cookie cutter soldier wife has to drive, but it makes sense, right?
Yes.
She at least would have experience driving it. But then she just stops and goes, this doesn't make sense. And then the sheriff is like, you don't make sense. I was like, you guys aren't selling it that they're arguing right now.
Yeah, because at this whole point, they've
been
never
all
met.
buddies.
They never met
Yeah.
up to this point. Oh man. One other thing that I know we kind of skipped over that is, I think, going to be a little bit important coming up to what we're doing next is when the Predator lands, he gets rid... in the beginning of the movie, the Predators, as they're getting attacked by this Predator-alien combo, tries to set up his wrist guard to explode to get the whole thing, but he dies before it happens. And so the other Predator that we're following through calms down and is just, he pretty much just collects all these things. Like he's like, okay, what were the cool weapons? Oh, those like, well, they're not really ninja stars, but like the giant throwing stars, which they're a lot bigger than I thought they were. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, those things, like, they show up, and what was it? There was something else that he just like gets everything, and then it's like, okay, this laser gun thing that they really like, it was the whole point of the first movie, is like, hey, I'll take that too, I guess.
Just a little bit of everything.
Which, does he have two?
Yeah, because the whole time he's kind of like just slowly picking them off as he's like encountering the xenomorphs. He's like, you're not the one I want, but I gotta get rid of you.
Yeah.
You're not the one I want, but I gotta get rid of you.
Yeah. And I did like the battle before, like it's the one where like, okay, it finally comes to the surface where they're in the sewers and he throws the laser grid stuff down, and then it's like I thought that was a neat scene where it's like it shows like the hunter mentality of this, like
trying to contain them as much as you can,
and like more than just like hunting humans that are just like going to be loud and stupid anyway. He's like, okay, these things are different, and he kind of, according to the wiki on this dude, they're like, it's like it looks like there's evidence of him actually fighting xenomorphs before, like because his face is scarred and
then he also knows what to expect.
Yeah, but I thought it was a neat scene where it's like he actually has the Predator alien in his hands and is about to end the movie, and then other aliens like, know me first.
I thought they were doing kiss. Yeah, it's like 20 minutes left of the movie when they actually encounter each other, when they finally come up to encounter each other. But I think, what is it? Oh yeah,
then they blow up the power grid because there was too much light already.
Yeah, so then no, the power grid was, I thought they didn't meet before the power grid.
No, they like
briefly in the sewers.
Briefly in the sewers because it pops out of the sewer gate, and that's when
after the power grid goes off. Yeah,
like it's
it
real
goes to
quick.
The hospital.
It's sewer, power grid, hospital, and which.
And then you have the moment when they're arguing about whether or not to trust the National Guard, because the sheriff has been on the phone saying like there's a pickup point. Very what's the video game? The zombie one where they're like, you have to survive this long and then you can get picked up.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
The goofier zombie game.
Left 4 Dead?
No, I wasn't thinking Left 4 Dead. What's the one where you can make the crazy weapons?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're stuck in the mall.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Okay. But yeah, so they kind of like hint at that kind of motive where they tell the sheriff like, oh, we're going to come pick you up at this rendezvous point. You just have to be there in so much time. And then they split the party where the sheriff and the wife and mother of the first two humans that died in the movie. Dead Rising. Yeah, they go off to go to the rendezvous point, and there they find a bunch of people defending themselves in a circle from like the constant onslaught of aliens. And then the other half are like, we're going to get on a helicopter at the hospital and try to escape out of the city because the soldier lady is like, I know what they're going to do, and it's not what you think it is, so we need to get out of the city if we want to survive. Mm-hmm. So then you go to the hospital, and then in the hospital, Cricket dies. I was like, no, Cricket. He like immediately dies. Yeah. And then they're running around, and for some reason Jessie runs ahead and she sees the Predator fighting the alien, and that's when your favorite ninja star comes
that thing
up.
is huge.
I know, and it was so funny the way she died. I had to pause because I was laughing. I was like, that's how she goes?
I was laughing too. I was like, what I wrote was like, guy, losing Jessie is probably better for you in the long run.
Yeah, I don't know if you two are good for each other.
It's like, but
yeah, so then the guy goes crazy and starts shooting around, and they end up, because the Predator got distracted by the kid, the Predator gets like pushed down an elevator shaft, and then the convict ends up with a Predator gun. Mm-hmm. And then they all end up running around on the hospital roof, and the hospital roof is the second time, right, that the Predator alien gets in contact with the Predator, because they're fighting on like that rooftop thing.
Yes, they fight. I think they fight like 2 times in the hospital. I thought. I don't know. I'm trying to remember because it.
Yeah. It again. This is like the last 20 minutes of the movie, and then like in the last 10 minutes is when the Predator finishes it off. Yeah. And then as the Predator finishes it off, everybody gets on the helicopter and leaves, and all at the same time, the National Guard is like, "Drop it." And then it's like you said.
Yeah. Raccoon City 2.0. Well, I guess technically like 4.0. But yeah, it's but like before they drop the bomb, like this is when like we have the alien and the Pretty combo.
Kiss. Not kiss.
Yeah,
almost
it
kiss.
was almost kiss. Like there was a lot of
like chomping.
There was a lot
each
of
other's direction.
Yeah, there was like a lot of parts in this movie where I was like, are these characters gonna kiss? Like the whole time, like
soldier and
convict.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, she is like I understand like probably military training. If she saw action, like if she was sent out, like she's probably able to like push like thoughts
Emotions.
away. But like there was like a whole scene like. I was like, I don't even remember what they were saying. I was like, are they flirting? Like, it was the scene where it's like, I'll drive, I'll shoot, and it's like, well, don't. It's like, well, don't get us in an accident.
Don't crash.
Don't crash. Well, don't miss. And it's just like, are they supposed to be flirting? Like,
yeah, and then I know like the cricket guy at the end, he's like, I
Yeah.
don't care about the Titanic, about saving women. He's like, she can fly a helicopter, can you?
Yeah.
And he's like,
and it's like, it doesn't matter. I only got like 2 minutes left in this movie. but yeah, but yeah, they have the final fight, which I don't know. I guess it was fun, where it's just like this whole movie, like it's just so much.
It's not much versus.
It's not much versus, but it's just what I was about to say is like the Predator alien like uses its little baby mouth so much. Like I don't remember.
It's really obsessed with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember the original Alien. It was kind of like
It was
their
like
final
a scene, right?
Yeah, it was like when they were close enough and they couldn't quite like claw at you. Then it was like.
Yeah, but like
But it was a slow reveal. It wasn't like a tongue that was like.
yeah.
Like they always use it now.
Well, like in AvP, like it was they use it all the time, and I'm like,
yeah, they never used their big mouth. They only ever used
Yeah.
the tiny mouth, which was weird.
But like in this one, it's just like okay, is it because it has Predator like combo? It's going to use all its tools, and then it was just like that was the most satisfying thing when the Predator just grabs it and rips it out. And he's just like, enough with this, and then it's like. Then it turns into like a Rocky Balboa movie as they start boxing.
I know, it's so weird.
The other thing I didn't was like I also thought was weird was like, okay, arm cannon, which is the gun that they finally that Big Brother convict uses, but like before that, the Predator is like, oh no, it doesn't connect anymore. Hold on, boop boop boop. Now it's a shotgun. That way humans can use it.
Plot armor.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, and then so then what? They're actually able to fly and escape from the city, and even though the nuke goes off, their chopper crash lands. But we have soldier, convict, soldier's daughter, and pizza boy, teenager. Those four survive, and then they play dramatic like Jurassic Park kind of, or Jurassic World music where everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, like it was like feel good music. Like I was sitting there, I was like, why does the vibe of this music make us like, oh, everything's good, okay, and now they're gonna kiss, and it was just like that whole city just blew up, and it's like 2 seconds ago, like a character that wasn't an issue problematic at all, the sheriff like dies. He's just like he looks over to the one lady who worked at the diner, and she's like. Yeah.
Oh, isn't she also the wife to the wife and mother for the first two guys in the movie?
I think so.
Yeah,
but they just look at each other and it's like,
this is it.
We got the bad end.
But that's also why I felt like it was structured like those games, because there's so many choices that happen throughout the movie that cause different endings for people.
Yeah, I felt like this would have made a way more interesting video game to play.
Yeah, like a choose your own adventure, and then it would have been pretty interesting. And then and then you get introduced to the Yutani Corporation, because you have the lady go, the world is not ready for this technology, and then cut. I double checked. I was like, I've heard that name before.
Yeah,
and it's Yutani was obtained by Wayland Corp in the future.
Yes, that's how I found this wiki.
But I wrote for myself down. I said if people never decided to go to Antarctica, the first movie couldn't exist. And of course that means the second movie couldn't exist. But if there were no people in this movie would be like 30 minutes long?
Probably.
If you cut out all the parts with people, and if it was just any of the encounters between the Predator alien and the Predator, it was not much time.
I found into development and writing. Hold on, let's see. Anything fun in here? Several ideas were considered to be sequel to AvP. Oh, do you want I can give you this link so you can see what I'm looking at too.
Oh, I was just going to say, before you jump into that, can you guess, out of the, not including Prey, what the box office, well, I guess it can't include Prey, but what the box office earnings, which movie out of the Predator series made the most? Out of the 6 movies.
Man, part of me really wants to, if I had to guess, just judging of everything I've been hearing and reading, Predator 2.
Alien versus Predator, lifetime gross $80 million.
You know what? That does make sense a little bit because at this point, Aliens and Predators have tons of stuff. Like they have Predator only had
The
the
two
first
franchises
two movies.
and the two fans would have gone to the theater.
Yes,
Yeah.
that does make sense.
And then the second highest grossing is Predator with 59 million gross, almost 60. Then Predator
the first
original.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Predator 3, 52 million. The Predator, 51 million. AvP 2, 41 million.
Well,
and Predator 2,
good.
30 million.
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, I'm like, I hope I'm not getting memed on this, but it's like, okay. Okay, so I was reading, okay, so there was at least 2 scripts in this. Okay, so, hold on, I'm just gonna quick scan through this. It had several ideas for the sequel, including the script around the Predators abducting humans to take them off-world to be hosts to be xenomorphs. Which it's
so that was pretty much what they did with Predators.
But like cut out the xenomorphs.
Yeah.
Which, hey, that works. But then which would be used for training hunts by predators. They pretty much turned that into okay, so there was at least 2 scripts where the Predator ship crashed in Afghanistan during the War on Terror, which apparently this was revisited in a comic, Alien vs. Predator Sand Trap. And yeah, so then eventually they elected on the second script. Oh, okay, I think that was the first script, and then the second script, which is the Predator ship crashing, unleashing alien cargo. But all this time, let's see. It goes into like a small American town. It gave like 2 names with this. I'm like, are those like important people? Which provided the effects to work on every alien. Oh, these 2 guys would have provided the effects to work on every alien. However, this was a different screenwriter, and then they decided to go with the Strauss brothers, which they made what they did. Let's see. They later commented when the script came up for this movie, they thought it'd be perfect for it because of the ambitious movie and for the budget they had. They knew that having our visual effects background was going to be a huge thing. So these guys had a okay, anyway. Oh, apparently there's deleted scenes. Are any of them actually important? I'm not going to watch them. Oh my goodness, there's tons.
Okay, yeah. Let's leave that because this has been another long episode,
Yes.
but it is because we fit in 2 movies into it. But yeah, that wraps up the Predator franchise.
I guess one thing I would like to ask, and it won't take super long, was overall feeling of these 2. Like, how'd you... Good.
Do you want my current ranking of like the order in the 7 movies that I enjoy them? Because I've updated my spreadsheet for like...
I haven't done a spreadsheet, but like I was just thinking like I guess on average I'm trying to think if Predator 1 right now is like the average mark, which doesn't bode well for
I was going to say that's not a fair...
Yeah.
I was going to say out of these movies, the one
Probably
I consider
Predators.
average is AvP 2.
Oh, AvP 2 is the average one? Yeah.
Because I think I like Predators more than AvP 2.
Mm-hmm.
So like this is my current spread. I have Prey, Predator, Predators, AvP 2, The Predator, AvP 1, and Predator 2. In order of how likely I would be to watch this again.
Yeah. I don't think I want to watch... Really, the only ones I would watch again is the first one and Prey. Which I almost watched Prey when I was in San Antonio. But, I don't know. I haven't gone through and ranked mine yet. So, yeah, after this, we said it already as something gets in my eye. We are going to do Prometheus, where we're going to start shifting into the Alien movies.
And then once we get through both franchises, then we have our master list.
Yeah. So, overall, I guess everything with a Predator in it. Average, but like, do you think it was worth it? like if would you watch? Well, not watch them, but it was just like
It was an experience. It's not my favorite set of movies franchises that I've dived into. There are much better franchises you could enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like some movies you're like, oh, the first 2 are fine, or like 3 is where it gets really bad. It just gets bad immediately after the first one.
Yeah.
And then you have some respite only because of a modern version,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything else is kind of poop. But do you land in kind of the same places between like where AvP 2 and AvP 1 land for you in terms of like the 7?
I think. Yeah, I think they would be on the lower half of if I would rank all the other movies. Like,
do you like Predator 2018 more than AvP 2?
Sorry, whatever's in my eye is like freaking out. Here we go. I'm just crying that the Predators are done now. Predator 2018. Which one was that? That was the one we watched last week.
Yeah, that one, like...
No, that's the one with Big Boy. No.
Yeah.
I don't like that
That's
one.
what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I put AvP 2 just above that because the characters are better.
Like, I guess...
And they're essentially the same movie.
Yeah, I think pretty much I would rank them very similar, where AvP 2 would be in the middle. Because I think I like Prey, Predator 1, and then I like Predators. I did enjoy that one. And then AvP 2, AvP 1, The Predator.
Oh, you liked AvP 1 better than The Predator?
I don't know. They're like, once they get low, that's like, it's all the same. Like, what's really...
It's plus or minus.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, I really like Predator and Prey. Like, I really did enjoy my time with all of them for different reasons.
And then the rest of this franchise is like...
Yeah, and then it kind of feels like... So... I think we said it
like
before.
Predators, I think I would say probably has an average rating. Like, yeah, I'd give that maybe like a 4 or 5. I might have said lower before, but after watching the rest of them, I have to kind of like...
Yeah, I had to fix my rating because I was looking back and then I was like, no, like, I had to put P2 lower. But no, it's... I was just thinking about it though, and then like we'll call it here because we're gonna go into another spinoff with me just rambling. I'm really interested in this, how we're doing this, and I'm like, man, it would be really cool to do this with another horror series. Learn the lore and the rules they set up for the killer in the first movie and see how it changes in later installments.
Yeah, I think we've talked, or maybe it wasn't us, but I think we've talked about how some of the franchises are very long, like the Halloween franchise, even though Michael Myers isn't in every movie, it is in the same universe.
We
and
were
that
talking
one's
about that,
like 13 movies, I think.
Yeah.
So
And so like I was thinking that like
next year.
Yeah. Well, like Jaws was another one that came to my head. Because I'm like, how are you gonna do 4 movies with a shark? It's like, I'm on land, sucker. But who knows? I could be wrong. But yeah, it's interesting, like just thinking about it. But yeah, next week we get to watch Prometheus, and well, we'll see how we feel.
Yeah, kicking off the Alien franchise. But yeah, thanks if you've made it this far. We always appreciate it. We would double appreciate it if you leave us ratings or reviews on your preferred listening service. I feel like I can feel my voice giving out.
You're broken up because we have to say goodbye to our favorite aliens right now.
Our favorite big boy. And then
I want a giant life-size statue of Big Boy.
And then triple appreciate it if you interact with us at all. So we'll give you a shout outs for anything if you interact with us. But we are twitter.com/pointlessdisco, YouTube. I don't think you can interact with us directly on Spotify. But
you can like it or something. I don't know what you do. You do something.
Quadruple appreciate it if you share it.
Yeah.
All the things.
So see you guys next week with for you guys next week with I forgot it, Prometheus. Bye-bye.